All right, I promise y'all. I promise y'all, we is not talking about the Chamber of Secrets. Even though I tried to get Casey into it. I really did.
Wait,
I tried.
wait. I thought you told me we was talking about the Chamber of Secrets.
No. What I meant was the Elimination Chamber
So
of Secrets.
okay. So we talking about the
Oh,
Prisoner of Azkaban. Okay,
yes, that one. The Elimination Chamber of secret competitors who you don't know when they're gonna come into the ring. That's what it is. That's what we call it. Okay, that's what we call it. So that I'm just telling y'all. But I'm excited because this kind of sets some things up for WrestleMania. I'm really excited. I don't know if Casey's going. I don't know if he's still going, but I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about the show and what it means for WrestleMania. So get your popcorn, get your drink. We'll be right back, and we're gonna break this show on down DX style. Let's go. You know who made it. All right, what is going on, good people? Welcome in to the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast, the only podcast that is always, and I, DJ means always, Casey means always, and Instant Classic. This feel kind of retro, Casey. I ain't gonna lie to you. Justin just be popping up so all the time now, and we don't get the one-on-one, the 1v1, the collar elbow tie-up type situation no more. Like, I don't understand.
I don't like it. I don't. This is terrible.
We missing people, okay? We missing somebody here, somebody there, somebody over there, a couple people over that way, So I get it, but nonetheless, back to where it all began. Just the two of us, just the two. Okay, anyway, look, Elimination Chamber 2024. Or Perth as they call it. Like you literally search Elimination Chamber 2024. They'd be like, what's that? But you put Perth in it, they'd be like, okay, that one right there. So it's from Australia.
Go, where's that?
It's in the Australia land where Rhea Ripley is from. Thus, she got a chance to main event against Nia Jax, which was interesting. Predictable, but interesting. What did you think of that? Because of course, that being the main event, it's fun that she gets to main event again, at her hometown, her home country, per se. But it's still interesting because it kind of makes it obvious who's going to win, right? You can't let her lose. Well, I mean, they haven't done a Brett screwed Brett in a long time. So, you don't get that feel, but so often. What do you think about that being the main event? I think it should have been the main event, but it did make it a little predictable, I think.
I think that I don't know. I don't know. I what I want to know is how come WWE can properly push Australian people? They can push the Irish people. They still can't push the Japanese people. They can't do it. Why?
Well, you know what? They pushed them. Look, I'm gonna be honest, Casey. They pushed them. They just pushed them onto the pre-show because we had the Kabuki Warriors defending their tag team titles against Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. That's what it was. They pushed them just on the pre-show. That's what it was.
They pushed them to get out of there early.
Which I know the Kabuki Warriors retained, which I'm not surprised about. I'm curious to what they're setting up because that's the thing. Like, especially when you get to Chamber, I think you really start looking at Mania. Of course, we know it's going to be Roman and Cody with probably some sort of Rock, not necessarily interference, but some sort of influence from The Rock. Of course, we know with Bayley and Io Sky, we already know that that's kind of confirmed. I think we, for the most part, know that Jimmy and Jey Uso are going to go at it. But they've been kind of teasing stuff with Gunther too, so that's another part of it. Like, where's his wrinkle? But like a lot of stuff, I think we got a lot of answers to a lot of questions that we may have had coming into this show. But we started with the Women's World Championship. um, qualifier Elimination Chamber. So Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Naomi, Raquel Rodriguez, and Tiffany Stratton. Um, I like I like I like Tiffany Stratton a lot. I think they're giving her a lot of time, not only in the ring but also on the mic to just like build up her heat, and I think that's a good thing. It's cool to see, of course, Naomi back. I knew Bianca Belair was going to have a showing in this match, and of course, Becky Lynch was going to have a showing in this match. Um, it was interesting. I feel like the one thing about Elimination Chambers that and maybe it's just the nature of the match, but I feel like you don't leave a lot of people looking weak after a chamber match, and maybe like, it's kind of just the brutality of the match. If you do Armageddon Hell in a Cell type situation, you know, you gonna have you're not going to have anybody necessarily look weak because they're already in the match to begin with. So I kind of feel like Chamber is similar to that, where it's like it's hard to make people look weak, and it can branch off into some other feuds. I don't know if, like, for example, Tiffany Stratton's going back to her. I don't know if she's going to have a Mania match, for the simple fact of she's just so new and they're still building her up, but. It's just very interesting to see what they'll do with her. And I think, honestly, I think she'd make, I don't know who with yet, but I think she'd make a good tag team with somebody, and a good tag team champion, a good heel tag team champion too. So I would like to see that maybe possibly later on. We'll see how that goes. But I feel like everybody had a pretty good showing though. Becky Lynch won, of course, and it feels like they try their best. It feels like they try their best to have Liv Morgan look good, I think, right? Like, I think, like, for what, I don't know if it's just because she's just coming back and they want to push her, but I feel like she gets this, like, monumentous push, it feels like sometimes. I don't know how you feel about that, Casey, but I feel like she's gotten a really good push since coming back, like a really big push since coming back. Like, that's what I'm still trying to figure this out. Like, I like Liv Morgan, but I feel like I'd rather see Bianca. I feel like I'd rather see maybe Tiffany Stratton. And maybe it's just because she came back and I was a little underwhelmed by the fact. I was fine with it, but underwhelmed at the same time. But what did you think?
I think this is just the typical, return push. Like, I feel like they kind of initially push everybody that returns, whether it's from injury or, being out for a while. They have that big push for them, like, oh, welcome back. Oh my God, she's been out for 6 months or however long, whatever, and she's finally back. And then it kind of fades away. I think that's what this is going to be, because I don't see them. They've already tried to put the title on her, and it didn't really. I don't feel like it really worked.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I love Liv Morgan, but I don't see her as a women's champion. I just don't. Um, I think she's definitely a workhorse. Like, if they were to introduce like a sort of mid card women's championship, kind of like the Intercontinental title, I could definitely see her, having something like that. But I don't see her being the face of the women's division.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, honestly, I think Liv Morgan could do a lot of. I think she would make a good. Maybe that's who Tiffany Stratton should tag with, right? Because Liv Morgan's kind of been there, done that. She's got a lot of experience, it feels like, at this point. And I think her as a heel, those two as like the unlikable heels, I think would be good, possibly. And it may give them both something to do, because of course I know they want to kind of keep Tiffany Stratton strong, but at the same time, I feel like Liv, in a way, in a way, I feel like she kind of lost in the sauce a little bit. But the chamber match was good. I liked it. Had some good spots in it. Becky Lynch getting the win. Honestly, I was a little surprised. I don't. It's not that I feel like Chamber is almost like Money in the Bank, but it's almost like Money in the Bank, right? It's almost like one of those situations where it's like everybody has an equal chance to get the win in the match because of the way the match is constructed. So I was a little surprised Becky Lynch won, but I don't know who I thought would win this match to begin with, right? Like maybe a returning Naomi, possibly, but at the same time, I'm sitting here thinking Becky Lynch is a good one, especially to go in against Rhea Ripley. Like that'll make for a good match. That'll make for a really good match, I think. So, what was your thoughts on the women's elimination chamber?
I thought it was good. Definitely a good opener to the show. Um, I was very impressed, and like I've never really watched Tiffany Stratton. I didn't really watch her stuff in NXT because I haven't really watched NXT. I feel like she was in NXT during that period where like I just kind of stopped watching. Because it hasn't grabbed me as much as it used to, like back in like the original, back when you and I used to watch NXT all the time. We used to always, you know, review the takeovers, and it was consistently great shows. I feel like it doesn't pull me in like that anymore, so I kind of have you know gravitated away from it. I'm trying to watch it again, but having said that, hadn't really watched her much, but I was very impressed in this match. I thought she had a lot of good spots. She sold well. Um, she was kind of almost the crash test dummy for everybody. Like she was taking all these bumps and like some crazy stuff in there. So I was impressed with her. Um, I wasn't at all surprised that I'm going to be completely, opposite of you. I was not surprised at all Becky won. With the way that they pushed Becky, I, I mean, I would have been surprised if she didn't win.
How do you feel about that though? Like the fact of Becky winning and you're not necessarily. I'm not saying that everything should be a surprise, right? But I mean, I don't know who else. I'm trying to think who else would have history with, because honestly, I think we all knew where they were initially going with Rhea, and they were going to go with the rematch with Charlotte, because Rhea and Charlotte faced one time at Mania,
yeah,
and I think they wanted to do it last year, but I can't remember what happened. I think Charlotte got hurt or something.
Yeah, well, it's like the way I looked at it is nobody else was built up enough.
Yeah.
To win and go on to Mania. Liv obviously wasn't built up enough. She was returning, but she wasn't built up enough. Tiffany Stratton is basically her debut on the main roster. She wasn't built up enough. Naomi, yes, she's a star, and she just returned. But again, you have to build her up after her return. Yeah. Who else was in this match?
Like, look, and that's the thing, because you talk about being built up. Like, I think Raquel would be a good opposition to Rhea Ripley, but she's not built up to the Mania aspect of it, right? Like,
Yeah. So right there, to me, I was like, I know exactly who's going to win this match. So I kind of put that on the back burner and tried to just enjoy the match for what it was, and it was a good match. I do love how they were like, this year in the Elimination Chamber, the pods are going to be mic'd up, and they didn't use that at all. Nobody talked in the pods at all. Not a word. I was like, it's great that you mic'd up the pods, but nobody said anything. That's like miking up an NFL player and then they don't say anything throughout the whole game. What's the point?
Yeah, I agree. That was kind of weird that nothing was really said when it came down to.
Also, another weird thing, and somebody else, I was thinking about it when the match was going on, but then I watched a couple other reviews of YouTubers reviewing the show, and they said pins and submissions had to be inside the ring. They couldn't be outside. I've seen submissions and pins outside of the ring in Elimination Chambers before. What?
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. I think it's it's like a double edged sword almost because in this type of match, it's kind of stupid to not allow falls to count anywhere.
Right.
But at the same time, I think it does add an element of you got to get them back in the ring. Like that little extra second gives them more room for false finishes and stuff too, I guess. So I don't know. Like I wish it was false count anywhere because I think it should be. I think that's how it started. I think that's how it's always been in the WWE video games, right? Which is what I base all of my realism off of. So you know, that's just me though. But any other thoughts on that before we move to the tag team championship match?
Nope.
All right, we had the Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Damian Priest with Dirty Dom going or Dirty Tom and Nick, whichever one you want to say, going up against the new Catch Republic in Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. I'm liking the tag team of Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. I'm still trying to figure out because I think with Tyler Bate, and this is just my opinion, but with Tyler Bate on the main roster, I think he's still getting not only acclimated, but I think the fans are still getting acclimated to him. Whereas with Pete Dunne, I think I don't know why. I'm not sure why because he kind of came up as Pete Dunne for a little bit, was Butch, and then went back to Pete Dunne. But it feels like they have a little bit more of a response to Pete Dunne than they do Tyler Bate right now. Which, as much as I like them as a tag team, I wonder if the crowd is going to get behind them enough to possibly at some point in time put the titles on them. But of course, they lost this match. And this is the hard part about the Elimination Chamber as a pay-per-view is you can have all these title matches, but obviously they don't really matter because you're not gonna change a title before Mania, that a couple weeks before your biggest show of the year. So as good of a match as this was, and everybody had their good spots, and of course Dom, I love the heat that he gets. Like I don't know what has caused it to kind of turn up a notch, but the heat that he gets it's just amazing considering where he was when he first turned heel, right? Like I think we had talked about it before, and I think I had brought it up like probably way too early about him turning heel. And I could have never imagined it being as over as it is right now. So I'm liking it. I still like Finn Balor and Damian Priest as a tag team, but it's just interesting. It's one of those situations where, like, especially with Finn Balor, I wish they would do something with him. It's like they keep bringing up he's the first ever undisputed first ever Universal Champion, but then they never do anything with him to build on the fact that he's the first Universal Champion because he just ended up getting hurt anyway. So that's kind of the thing too. I feel like underwhelmed sometimes by what Finn is doing. I kind of would love to see, with considering Damian Priest is Mr. Money in the Bank, I would love to see Finn as Money in the Bank to kind of like just skyrocket his stock a little bit more. For me, and kind of long-term storytelling maybe here a little bit too, but I would love to see Priest cash in and win, and then Finn end up winning the next Money in the Bank and cashing in on him eventually. And maybe that's the breakup of Judgment Day, possibly. So, I mean, it was a good match. I knew what the outcome was going to be before it was. So, Casey, what was your thoughts on the tag team title match, or any of that I just said?
Pretty much the same. It was predictable. I kind of knew what was going to happen. Good match though. It was just I knew what was going to happen. I knew who was going to win. I and I don't know if you noticed there was a couple like technical difficulties they had at the show. One specifically was after Dom gets thrown out by the ref, the screen just goes black for like
Mm-hmm.
a couple seconds. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then later on, the sound completely went out.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
It's funny. I noticed that, and I think I rewinded it a little bit because I was like, "What's going on?" I like messing around with my headphone. Like, did my headphone go out? Did it go dead?
right. Yeah, I was like, was that just a Peacock thing, or was that actually on the broadcast? Because I didn't watch. Obviously, I didn't get up at 5 a.m. to watch the show. I watched it later
What?
on. So,
I can't believe it.
did you get up at 5 a.m. and
No,
watch
I did not get up at 5 a.m. to watch the
exactly,
show.
exactly?
Now, if it was Mania, I might have to suck it up, but this Elimination Chamber, no, absolutely not.
I'm sorry. Even if it was Mania, no, I'm not getting up at 5 in the morning. Sorry, but yeah,
I don't know, Casey. I feel like you push through.
I don't know. Nope.
I mean, you're already up at 6 anyway, so.
No, I'm not. No, nope, no, sir. But it was a match.
What do you think about Finn? Like, you feel like Finn should be doing more? Because speaking of people who they just he's Irish, but they can't figure out how to push him.
I feel like they know how to push him well. Like he's doing well in Judgment Day. Like he's over.
Yeah.
But he's not over the way that we want him to be, or the way that we know he has the potential. Like he should be in the main event picture. He should be multiple time, Universal Champion at this point, or WWE Champion at this point. But they keep him in like that mid card, region, and it's like he's great there, but give him a chance.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on to the men's Elimination Chamber for a chance at Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, Kevin Owens, L.A. Knight, Logan Paul, and Randy Orton. I feel like this was good too, and I think that's the one thing about Elimination Chamber. I feel like, it kind of brings all the stars out. Like it brings out a lot of guys who probably deserve a main event match, even if they don't get it. Even with guys like who aren't always necessarily in the main event, they're probably seen as main eventers, but not always in the main event. For example, like a Lashley, and even it was cool to have Logan Paul in this match, not only being the current United States champion, but also it was cool to see Logan Paul in this match because it brings a little bit more prestige to the U.S. title, right? Not just the fact of him being a star or anything either, but just more so just him being the U.S. champion and still wanting a chance at the World Heavyweight Championship, wanting all the gold type situation. I like that. And I thought everybody looked good. I love the spot with Logan Paul and Randy Orton where Logan Paul was going to put on his brass knuckles and he was doing all his extra stuff because Logan Paul is a pretty darn good heel, and Randy comes behind him and does the RKO just out of nowhere. That was good.
I hated that spot.
You hated it?
I
You
hated
expected
it
it?
because think about this. The logic of this. He didn't come out of nowhere. He came out of nowhere from the camera's view. He was in front of Logan Paul. He came from like the like an angle, but he was like basically came from in front of him.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, you didn't see that? Like I love the Randy Orton out of nowhere when it makes sense and when it's out of nowhere. When it's just out of view of the camera, the guy can see you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that bothered me. I was like, come on.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like I'm liking what they're setting up with LA Knight and AJ Styles. I think LA Knight is over enough to probably win the championship, right? Like to probably win the World Heavyweight Championship, because I think at some point they are going to take it off of Seth. But like, it's one of those situations too, and I guess they didn't want a face in a face being one of the main events at Mania. But it's just interesting because he's so over right now. You would almost expect them to put, I mean, them to put him and Seth in the ring at the same time on a Mania stage would be big. But also, I don't know. Maybe Drew does get his Mania moment. I don't, his real Mania moment, and then you have Punk come back and possibly, more than likely, take the title off of Drew. I think there's options. I think there's options with it. I think Drew is one of the guys who's really consistent, and you can always put the title on him if you need to. You can always put him in that spot if you need to. And of course, like, he probably does feel some type of way, even, realistically, he probably feels some type of way when it comes down to being kind of the pandemic champion, right? So I don't know. It's interesting. Like I said, I like the LA Knight AJ Styles thing. I'm a little surprised. Also, I kind of wish they would have swapped it, though, now that I'm thinking about it. And I don't know how you feel. I'm curious how you feel. But not to say that LA Knight and AJ Styles won't be a good match, but I kind of wish they would have swapped it and done AJ Styles versus Seth, because I don't feel like we've really gotten that at least a lot. Like, I know they had a match forever ago, back before AJ was ever in WWE, and I think Seth was still Tyler Black. Like, they had a match a long, long time ago. But it just makes you want. I'm a little surprised that AJ didn't get that spot against, especially since AJ's a heel now, right? And AJ's always over. AJ's always going to be a draw. Why wouldn't you do AJ Styles and Seth Rollins in that spot instead of, and have Drew and LA Knight be, the other match, especially with having the audible. Of course, you wanted Punk to be in that spot, but having the audible, maybe even you have Punk cost Drew in some form or fashion, and then, set that up with LA Knight or something. I don't know, but I wonder what you think about that. And of course, the chamber match too. But just like, I'm surprised they didn't go ahead and pull the trigger on Styles and Rollins.
I mean, I don't know. Would that be a great match? Yeah, but are we almost at the point where, like, I feel like there's certain dream matches that we've always wanted that we're just not gonna get, and it's like best to just move on.
But why? Like,
And I don't.
Casey, the hard part is they're in the same company. I think that's where I struggle, right? Like, you have this is the opening right here. Like, I love Drew. Don't you dare get me wrong. Drew's one of my favorite guys. But you literally have Rollins and AJ. AJ is literally a heel right now. Rollins is one of your most over faces. Why? Why not? And maybe it's not for me to understand, but why not now?
Because they're in the WWE, and WWE doesn't care about what you liked before they came to WWE. They don't care about Tyler Black. They don't care about AJ Styles before he came to WWE.
Come on, WWE.
That's the same reason why, as much as I love LA Knight, and I'm not necessarily saying that they're not going to give him the title or not going to give him a chance, but I wouldn't be surprised if they don't, because again, where we may see that he is, one of the biggest stars that they have, and he's super over, and he's been grinding for years, and he deserves it. WWE doesn't always see that, or doesn't always feel the same way. And we've seen tons of guys that we, over the years, who we thought should have been WWE champion, or the next big name in WWE, and they were just never given that opportunity because WWE didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Can I want to ask you a question though, because I'm curious about your answer.
no.
When is the when is the last, like, WWE moment that you were like, oh my goodness, like, I didn't expect that. That threw me for a loop. I maybe it was like a believe it when you see it type moment. How long ago was that for you?
CM Punk coming back.
Okay. So we got the same one. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. I was just curious because um I was curious because the way you talked, I felt like maybe you were under the impression that yes, I'm surprised by it, but I kind of expected it. Because I mean, I was like I was told that it could happen, but I don't think I expected it though. So
Right.
um, yeah, I think that was my feeling when it came to that. Yeah, I could agree with that. Like I said, I wish they would have got Sasha back for Rumble. They probably could have. I don't know if they would have topped it because we're talking about a guy being gone from the company for 6-7 years, vowing to never come back, and literally being in the rival company, a month before or whatever. But just just it's just one of those moments, and just it sucks that he's hurt, too, because kind of just throws a wrench in all the plans. But last one, main event: Nia Jax, Rhea Ripley, Women's World Championship in Rhea Ripley's home country. A lot of it. I always like, especially like the not first, but I guess it was a WWE first for her. I like the moments where people are in their hometown for like the first time and they're in this like big match in this big match feel in this big match environment. Because I mean, I thought the arena and the crowd did a good job in this one, like in terms of the arena's look, the arena's aesthetic, but also it made the show feel bigger the way the arena looks, but also at the same time, the crowd also made this show very good. And I feel like with Nia Jax, there was a part of me that wanted to feel like what I think that's the weird part about wrestling, right? Like, there's a lot of stuff you can predict, right? There's a lot of stuff that you will say, like, especially with Rhea Ripley winning this match. You're like, yeah, duh, she's gonna win. She's in her hometown. That would be stupid to not have her win. But then there's also, and maybe it's just history, maybe it's just like what we know, or maybe it's just the anything can happen in WWE type situation. But there's always this feel of you never really know what's going to happen, right? Like, Taker Street getting defeated, CM Punk coming back, like all of those things are like.
Taker Streak has not been defeated.
That's true. I forgot about that. Yep, you're right. He's still undefeated. Well, technically he lost to Bray next year, didn't he? But
you shut your dirty mouth.
No, it wasn't Bray. He didn't lose to Bray. He lost to Roman, didn't he?
He lost to nobody.
I'm pretty sure he lost to Roman.
Nope. He is undefeated.
Because it was Brock, Bray, and then Roman. He lost to Brock, beat Bray, and then lost to Roman. Anyway, regardless, it just makes you feel like Nia Jax could possibly win this match. And that's how I was feeling going into this match. I'm like, it's possible, but it won't happen. It didn't happen. And I thought it was fine. But, I'm excited to see Rhea and Becky do their thing at Mania. It'll be interesting to see what Nia does. I'm a little surprised. Like, I don't know about you, but I'm a little surprised, and I don't know what they're doing with Jade Cargill at Mania. But just the pop that she had and the momentum that she has, even if it's something short, I'm a little surprised they didn't have her not only in the chamber to possibly face Rhea Ripley, or have her and Bianca eliminate each other, and then you have that whole that you have that thing or something. Who do you turn heel? I guess is a whole nother question, but it's just interesting. Like I'm curious to see what's going to happen with Mania, especially with Jade Cargill too. But I'm excited for Rhea and Becky. I think it'll be good. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on the main event?
I think you're completely wrong. Every possible thing in this match pointed to Rhea retaining. One, she was in her hometown. Two, it's right before WrestleMania. Three, it was Nia Jax.
But they want to build up Nia Jax so freaking bad. They just won't. They want to build her up so bad. They really do. It's just I feel like for Nia Jax, unfortunately, the timing's never really right.
Also, she hurts everybody.
Yes, I wasn't gonna mention that.
Well, I was.
But I mean, since she came back, has she hurt anyone? Maybe.
Probably.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just a little surprised that they didn't have Jade Cargill do anything. Not in this match. I'm saying in general. Like she wasn't in the chamber. You know, I don't know if they don't want to get her hurt right now. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing right now with her. And I mean, you know, a Rumble debut was good, but then it just makes me think like that debut was really good. Like it left you wanting more. How long can I wait for the more?
Maybe, like me, she's protesting and not going to Australia because that Stingray murdered Steve Irwin.
So that's why. I mean, but you watched the show though.
I watched it for the wrestlers on the show. I didn't watch it for Australia.
Okay. You know what? I think that's a good place to wrap up. But we definitely hope you guys enjoyed the show. Casey, any final thoughts on Chamber or Mania coming up as well? Like any dream matches you? No, I shouldn't even say that in front of you because I know you'll come up with something completely ridiculous and out of the blue. So maybe I'll refrain from saying.
I want to see Danhausen.
Zack Sabre Jr. versus Kata.
That would be good too. I mean, Kevin Owens did beat the hell out of Logan Paul. Like, damn, he was smashing him into that pod. I was like, damn, dude, jeez. I think he's earned his spot in WWE now. Jeez. But no, it was a good show. Good show.
Do you think Logan Paul is going to face Kevin Owens at Mania?
I hope not. The boy gonna die.
So, because I think whoever faces Logan Paul at Mania wins the U.S. title. You think I'm just wondering, is that going to be Kevin Owens?
Probably.
Yeah. Because I mean that's what they've been going with. Of course, they kept it going in the match too. So, and I'm fine with Kevin Owens being. What would this be? His second, third time as U.S. champion? Like I'm fine with him being U.S. champion. I think he needs something to do anyway. But anywho, definitely hope you guys enjoyed the show. We'll see you guys on the next one. Remember that the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast is on all major podcasting platforms, so be sure to check us out. We're going to get on out of here. For Casey, for DJ, we'll see you guys on the next episode of the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast, the only podcast that is always, and I mean always, an instant.